have here.
Yeah, this would be a fun Division One matchup. Now I'm gonna go off the cuff here, Nito. I completely forgot that we are in best of 9 territory because we have been so used to the regular season being best of 7s. I'm like, wait, I have to adjust all of a sudden. Yeah, we're in best of 9 territory, everybody. It's playoff season. That's how you know we're in CCA playoffs. And more importantly, a Division One matchup between UCSD Esports Gold and the VCU Big Fat Sea Cows. First of all, both very, very, very familiar teams with a rich history, to say the least here, Nito, and it should be a lot of fun to watch.
I mean, you talk about history. UCSD Gold is the first name that comes to mind because this is a team that's been around for every CCA league season. Go Child is one of the few CCA players, if any, really, in the CCA league that have played in every single season. So you talk about history. The definition of history is right there below your name, actually.
Yeah, the entire definition. I guess we can sum up everybody with UCSD Esports Gold. Obviously, UCSD Esports once upon a time. I think I even remember casting this team all the way back to season 1. That's
Oh, goodness.
they've been everywhere. Yeah, so should be a lot of fun. Of course, VCU Big Fat Sea Cows. I think in my personal take, this should not be a very hot take at all. Probably one of the more successful collegiate teams outside of CCA, actually. So representing VCU. I'm just wanted to pretty much featuring a lot of stars here on the board. So this should be a lot of fun. UCSD Esports Gold, excuse me, second place in, I believe, Group 1, and then the other group, Big Fat Sea Cows, is finished in third place. So this should be a lot of fun. I mentioned before, Nito, we're transitioning over to best of 9, which is taking a lot for my brain to adjust to. So here's our map list that we got here, Nito. Anything that strikes out to you?
Well, I'm looking at their rosters and really the weapons that they're about to pull out. I've known UCSD Esports Gold for the longest time that when it comes to this new game, or really new game, I say, as the Switch 2 is about to come out, I'm going off the cuff already. Okay, anyway, as looking at their comms, I mean, this is almost, I mean, you have two skirmish type weapons. So I expect UCSD Sports Gold to make full use of the ledges that we have, especially in these first 3 games, or first 4 games rather. That is going to be a crucial. That's going to be a crucial 3 games for them. So want to see what they come up with what come out in these first 3 games.
Yeah, I think in many other leagues where I have done best of 9s, I think the first game is going to be your scouting game here. Scorch Clan Blitz, probably honestly one of your best places to look, because I think the way I see this, Nito, is Scorch Clams. Of course, it's a Clan Blitz map, so you're having to deal with that, but it's also going to be a test of who has the better teamwork and how you adjust along the way. So this should be a lot of fun. We're going to be queuing it into this one. Of course, UCSD Esports Gold, very much in the gold colored side. VCU Big Fat Sea Cows on blue. What strikes out to you right away here, Nito?
I love seeing the custom leader, and Go Child is going to be the one to watch in this matchup with this custom leader. I love the Kraken pick here, and Clan Blitz, why not? Why wouldn't you? And so we see a lot of very fast weapons on their side. I mean, we have Zaps, though. That's going to enable you to go further. I mean, not what more is to say about VCU, because they actually have the more skirmish-heavy comp, I think. And from what I'm seeing here, they've got these Vipers, they've got these Machine, and now they got another pick on the board.
Yeah, they got several picks on the board. I think to your point, this is a very skirmish-happy team that they're going to have here. Also with a variety of different weapons, as I see Luscious stamping out that suction bomb in front of them, and that toss was very silly. I'll give it that, as Big Fat Sea Cows immediately breaks the barrier here. Down to 80 points remaining. Booyah Bomb already being thrown in there to provide some protection. They're able to get some, as one small clam is chucked into the basket, as they do lose the pencil on top of it. Nito, about less than a minute in, they get a 1+1 push to start things off.
Yeah, and with Clan Blitz, and with Scorch Gorge, really, it's really hard to get yourself past this basket, so it's no wonder they've only gone to 77 remaining, but I expect to see more from Big Fat Sea Cows, especially with the comp choices they've made. UCSD, they're already setting up. I want to see what they can come up with their pushes here.
Yeah, I think they may have a few chances to strike right away, as there's going to be the first power clamp, and no, not at all. I spoke too soon, as the shutdown is there. VCU's defense strikes big. I saw what was basically one power clamp and potential second one that could have been spawned there. Go Child with a nice little snipe onto luck was pretty beautiful. But that was almost a push that UCSD could have had, and was shut down very well by a strong defensive hold. So that was great from VCU, as Go Child and UCSD Esports Gold kind of surrounding around the middle, and both teams are gathering clams.
I mean, my goodness, I talk about how hard it is to get yourself past the basket. UCSD just didn't even get past the, didn't even get closer in front of the basket. Rather, they had one player go down, and then all of a sudden, things started to go down. Things started a domino effect for them right here. So we're gonna see if something similar happens here. But when you lose a player like that, you have to admit that's a far more dangerous domino effect for him.
You know what's funny, Nito, is I swear nobody realizes that it's an out of bounds area in Scorch Gorge. I feel like I've seen this almost 3 too many times in the past few months, and nobody, and even Nerdy Adam is not even immune to that. A little nice, unfortunate little blooper there, but UCSD Esports Gold, nice little recovery actually, able to get 3 members down out of the board. Mini's having to retreat a little bit here. Ocean Opal is looking on that left-hand side. Nerdy Adam moving right along. There's a lot of coverage that UCSD Esports Gold had. Problem is, there's no power claims quite yet. Trip Tricks being used, trying to zone out the right-hand side, but again, where's the power claim that is available? Nerdy Adam has 6 of them, has to retreat. There looks like there's going to be no push yet.
Yeah, no kidding. That's going to be one of the biggest parts of this battle, like I'm saying, is getting past that basket. And they did really well taking his left route here. But, like you said, no power clams, no party. I mean, this is what we're seeing right now. Nerdy Adam trying to hold down the fort, but again, you know how to get yourselves in very well here. It's just that when you have one thing, you got to have the other, and that's something that a lot of teams miss out on, especially on Clan Blitz. Clan Blitz is going to be the killer mode here.
Yeah, you noted it exactly there too. The coordination almost not only has to be there. If you get one part done but not the other, it's not going to be much success. And VCU Big Fat Sea Cows is throwing out the Booyah Bomb. They're going to get the next push on the board, down to 68 points remaining. Fox has a lot of clams, and that should be a huge score on the board here for VCU. They're going to be looking to retreat, trying to see if they can hold some ground. I don't know if the power clams are going to be there just in time yet. Lux is still there, going to have to retreat, and they're going to live to fight another day. But that push extends that lead well into range here, Nito.
And you talk about extending, Keon. They're extending it even more with this one pick that they just got a minute to go, and you see how many players on UCSD Gold haven't gone past this middle hill yet. We have a minute, and basically UCSD hasn't scored a power clamp. They haven't been able to get past mid right now, and they're still losing players. Granted, they did get 2 against VCU, but can they build on that with the limited numbers they have? There's always been something limiting them on their pushes here. They have to start noticing that with 30 seconds to go.
You're gonna have to start noticing that for sure with 35 seconds left. And here's the thing we gotta keep an eye out for. Booyah Bomb very much available. We're about to see potentially 4 specials around, but UCSD Esports Gold, they have 2, and that is a critical snipe onto Fox's Splash, which had 2 points left. To get the power to get the crab spawned in. Goat Child's in. They're gonna clear out a lot of space. Now this is likely their only chance to strike. That Booyah Bomb had to be tossed out early to protect the defenses there. Nerdy Adam has 5 clams, and this is gonna be a nail biter here, as we're gonna see probably more clams. They're being stagnated to efficiently extend the timer. You're about 5 clams short of the marker there. Ocean Opal just needs to throw that power clam in, and that is a success. UCSD Esports Gold did not score at all throughout the game. Gets the one push that mattered the most here, Nito, and that's gonna be Game 1 to UCSD to start.
Wow. Okay, I'm sure Neptune knows this just as much as I do, but I am watching that second push, watching that final push with just about every expression on my face as it happened. UCSD Gold. This is what I've been talking about. They've been missing something in their pushes, whether it be numbers, whether it be clams, whether it be just having people in front of that basket. And now everything starts to come into play here. And this looks like it would have been the end here. But this strike alone could have just been what holds the game open and opens the win for UCSD Gold. I mean, my goodness, that is exactly what UCSD needed and at just the right time. And you know what, Keon? I'm surprised it took me this long to mention it, but we're currently watching the defending Div 1 champions.
Yep. It took. You know what's funny? I even had to witness UCSD Esports Gold actually win the previous Division 1 finals there as well. It's to be fair, it's been a long time since we ran the circuit last semester, basically, for a lot of the teams. So now that we're back in league format, UCSD Esports Gold are trying to defend their title. I'm actually trying to remember what opponent they were up against to win it all. I think it might have been Red Embers, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, either way, Nito, yeah, UCSD Esports Gold, they're looking for back-to-back titles here in the CCA League. I mean, winning Game 1 is gonna help matters, especially from a huge come from behind deficit.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, this is a game where It seemed like everything was missing. Something was missing with their pushes, and I say it a lot because it almost bordered on being what you hear a word you hear a lot in competitive Splatoon, unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I mean, like, you
Yep.
had everything in all those pushes. You don't get a push going. VCU has those elements, but they only get up to 77 remaining or so in that first push. All of a sudden, everything works out for you. Stars align. Everything's perfect. Everything's a go. UCSD Esports Gold just it's like they're trying to find lightning in a bottle with every push they have. They need, but with Splatoon, you can't wait for that lightning in a bottle. You have to have it in your bag when you make these pushes.
That's exactly that's a very fantastic point there that you just brought out here too, especially with the way Splatoon 3, especially the way that game plays out. You got to move fast and opportunistic at times. I've actually seen a lot of teams try to find what I feel like the perfect scenario to get a push started, and but by the time that timer kind of by the time that window of opportunity, excuse me, runs out, you don't get to see it there. So, Nito, we're on to Hagelfish zones, which I mean, a lot of teams should have this map practice in their back pocket at this point.
Right. Hagglefish zones, I call it the bread because the butter is ink blot,
Mhm.
tower ink blot. But this is the bread of competitive Splatoon because I think Hagglefish zones is one of the better modes to just know fundamentals and to just know really it's the most almost neutral ground to play on. So I want to see what both teams come up with here now that we're heading into it. By the way, Opal subbing out for or Blaster subbing in for Opal rather on this match.
Yeah, this is gonna be what I'm gonna be curious about is how this substitution does play out here for UCSD Esports Gold. Which, by the way, shout out to production staff. Yes, it did. It was confirmed that UCSD Esports Gold won against Red Embers to take home the title in the last league. We take a look at the weapons here. Zimmy's gonna be coming out here. There is a bubble that is
Ooh,
in play, and Big Fat Seagull sticking to the same comp.
I like the bubble choice here. I mean, UCSD just needs to have everything set for their push, and if anything's going to help you set something for their push, maybe it's something physical, like, I don't know, a bubble that protects from this crab, by the way. That is a perfect bubble placement, saving Blaster from what could have been a disastrous crab play for him. But as I said, if you want things set up for you, you may as well have things that'll set it up for you, and that's going to be an excellent pick there for the Zimmy. But Big Fat Seacow's coming out with the opening here.
Am I not mistaken? Is that a torpedo splat that I just saw, or was that actually a click of the wiper there? I feel like I saw a lot of things from Lux. As Lux, by the way, cuts Blaster down, and that should be a lead change coming up here soon.
Ooh.
Yes, it will be. Lux gets the follow-up slash onto Nerdy Adam, and Blaster is gonna have to just retreat for a little bit for the hills. VCU Big Fat Sea Cows extended lead so far, as Core is gonna be used right away. That should allow for some aggressive play at this point. And Wami is throwing that trip strikes into the center. Is the hold going to be there? The answer is very much yes, as it's going to be a 3-down situation. Big Fat Sea Cows will have to respawn on defense. UCSD Esports Gold looking for a better push.
There you go. I like the special popping that they're doing here, and especially where notice the strike where the strikes came out on that push. That's exactly where the bubbler came in. They anticipated this, so I love what they're doing here. I love that they're using this to poke at Big Fat Sea Cows. Make sure they stay back. It's not going to work out too well for them though. Big Fat Sea Cows knows exactly how to get back in. They still have things to keep going, especially with this stamp that's just coming out, but two of their players going down. I mean, oh my goodness. UCSD starting to get into the flow here, and we're starting to see something very powerful coming out from the Tritons.
Yeah, we're gonna be seeing a lot of things coming out there for the Trines. I love that you noted that as well, as it is gonna be a lead change once again. UCSD Esports Gold now holding line just a bit there. I'm looking at the specials a little bit more build up here from VCU from UCSD. No, VCU. I got it right that time. As he got a Booyah Bomb, the crab, the pencil, and the pencil has the cooler. The entire kitchen sink has been chucked into the zone. That's what VCU needed in order to get the zones back. UCSD Esports Gold takes over the second 4 push for me, but a window of opportunity, especially with Lux using the Ultra Stamp.
Forget the entire kitchen sink. They're launching the entire kitchen, and you know what? The kitchen sink is Lux with that stamp, just trying to seal things up for VCU. And now UCSD says, all right, well, you launched the kitchen. We're going to launch the entire house. Here's a bubble for it. Here's a bubble for adding insult to injury here. But UCSD still on top of things, I got to say. I mean, it looks like that stamp was coming out, trying to do exactly what VCU wants it to do. But UCSD holding strong. They don't need to play. They don't need to play drastic. They know exactly how VCU is going to play. So UCSD currently staying to the top of their go. Okay, maybe not. Now we got 2 players down.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I think the way both teams have been playing, that one just kind of changed on a dime, and that would be VCU Big Fat Sea Cows immediately getting the zones back again, having to rebuild the special. This crab was just popped. Everybody's just kind of trying to farm their way through. Lux is shut down. I believe got sniped out of there. So they're gonna have to retreat back with the zone. Bubble's gonna for sure secure, and it feels like this bubble kind of adds a different dynamic now for UCSD Esports Gold. And VCU is just trying to have to deal with it, or having to wait for the bubble to elapse there as the trip strike's being used. They're gonna have the zone out Fox moving to the right, and I think the trip strike was used to help protect the zone. And all that being said and done here, Nito, UCSD Esports Gold still retaining the zone, maybe out of penalty points here soon. Yes, they should be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, VCU is popping their specials and coordinating everything to where UCSD is almost saying it's predictable. I mean, all VCSD needs to do is just keep them pushed back until VCU has all the specials they need, and then all of a sudden they just set things up and they're ready to go. And yeah, speaking of which,
yeah, that should be a done deal. Just paint over the zone, and that will be that. I feel like this entire map could be best defined as how do you deal with bubble? The answer is VCU just didn't have any answer for the most part. I love the several attempts that they did there, Nito, through for VCU. That is just not enough oomph left in the tank. 2-0 lead for UCSD.
Oh man, and to your question and how to deal with the bubble, it's either you do too much, or at least with VCU and the way they're playing. I say, from what I'm seeing right now, it's you either do too much or you do nothing at all about it. And the way it looks like what they're doing, it almost looks like that stamp and that booyah could have come in perfect just to try to shred this bubble and give these 2 players an opportunity here. But UCSD, I mean, what can I say that hasn't been said already? They're at the top of their game right now. They're up 2-0 against a team that's coming from, to put it politely, one of the craziest groups I've ever seen in my entire life. But VCU comes in prepared. UCSD says, "Well, we're the defending champs here. If we can find out what you're going to do in game 1, we're going to keep using it for the rest of these games."
And hey, I don't necessarily want UCSD Esports Gold. They want to stick to what has worked out well for them. And you saw for the first 2 maps right away there, Nito, that VCU actually has been sticking with the same comp that they have. Pretty much surrounding that Booyah Bomb there, you got the pencil as well, and the Ultra Stamp and the Splash. Really, that's been the core 4. Just it had the success. Let's put it this way: it had success in the Clan Blitz map, then fell apart at the end. This one was just kind of having to wrestle with a bubble that was just right in front of their faces. So you go to this third map, this Mako Mart tower control map. I feel like this could be a chance for VCU to strike again, unless UCSD has better adjustments.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, tower control on let me just say, Mako Mart is perfect if you're Lux, because you have this stamp, man. Stamp, when you don't throw it, it's still a very powerful weapon and very dangerous, especially now that Mako Mart has 2 flank routes that you could take that are obscured and not exactly in anyone's line of sight immediately unless they're looking at that direction. So you have that working out for you. Tower control, there's less control over the objective and how fast it goes. So there's a lot more opportunities here for VCU to take advantage of that stamp.
I think, and this is probably the weapon that I would like to see if they're going to do a shot with it. Ocean Opal, by the way, is back in, so Blaster was like a situational sub, but Ocean Opal is going to be dishing out the Blaster, so, well, there is still a bubble just on the hands of somebody else, and Goatchild flexing back over to the E-leader. What I've just noticed here, Lux, we were noting the Ultra Stamp, nope, forget it, it's a decaf.
Okay, that's still good, though. You have the bubbler here, so maybe this is very basic. Maybe the option here is, if you can't beat them, join them. But now with Big Fat Sea Cows, there's a lot more opportunities here to do some crazy stuff like what Lux is doing right here. Pop the bubbler on tower. Now we have the rest of the team, and we can ensure that we get a few points out of every push and milk something out of every push. So VCU looking to maintain consistency on their pushes rather than just having everything go out at once and hoping that something sticks.
I actually really like this mid decap choice, especially when you have the bubble that is available. Unfortunately, VCU losing that fight will be UCSD Esports' goal to take. But I like this adjustment that they have. If it didn't quite work, we gotta figure out a different change. I like the bubble pick, especially with this map. So want to see how this plays out. But it looks like so far though, Nito, UCSD Esports Gold still moving strong. They're gonna lose 2, so they're not gonna quite approach the second checkpoint quite yet. Kraken should be able to assist with the sustain. The answer does not seem to be there though, because Lux is just right there to get the other slash. UCSD Esports Gold will get sold where it stands. They won't even make it to the second checkpoint, but at least they get the first.
Okay, and a pick like that against a Zap is always good to have, but the one thing VCU needs to look for here is sustain. And they need to sustain every single advantage they have, because otherwise UCSD is going to run you over like they're doing right now. I like the aggressive positioning that Gochal has had there in it for a bit, but VCU needs to sustain all of these pushes. They need to somehow keep these advantages rolling, find a way to get VCU in a staggered position, just like Fox is doing right here. 3 players down, that's perfect for VCU. Needs to hold on to this, get more players looking forward like they are now, especially with this crab placement. That is a huge opportunity to get some aggression going.
This is probably going to be their best opportunity right now, especially with the core that they just shut down. The problem is they did lose several members of their own. Uami's going to go down. The Blue Bomb is available, but I think they're going to have to hold on to that one for just a tad bit longer. Save that for an upcoming push or for an upcoming defensive hold. So only just cut short by about 4 points there, but that is going to be the first checkpoint broken through. Again, UCSD Esports Gold didn't quite make it to the second, so it's still somewhat of an even game in terms of the objective context. But now, Big Fat Sea Cows playing pretty defensively, actually, giving UCSD Esports Gold mid to work with. Both teams kind of just playing patient. They're looking for, well, the 3 specials that were available. The cooler has been dished out. There's the bubble. Throwing it to the left stack. The Blue Bomb is not going to be dished out quite yet, as they are being chased there by Goatchild on the Kraken there, and I think Lux will be in no man's land at that point, or no squid land in that matter. And all that being said and done, UCSD Esports Gold is running with the tower.
Oh my goodness, that was a dangerous move from Lux, and they did get the pick there, but ultimately, like this is a bit of a trend here. Maybe nothing to follow up with, but VCU they have the ability to keep a push going, and they actually got themselves pretty close to the lead here. Nobody on UCSD Gold going for the tower just yet. I think they realized that VCU has something up their sleeve here, which is why they haven't been pushing for anything in case they get a delayed wipeout like that. So VCU, this is another opportunity for you to show your strength here, show off your muscle. Let's see what you can do to maintain this push. That first pick is going to help you really well, and now you've got the lead.
Now you got the lead, now you got a lot of things to work with there, and I love the toss of the cooler to the right, just to get everybody to pick up that cooler and make sure it doesn't get ran over by the tower pathing. Goatchild does get the snipe, but that is a heads-up play at the end of it, and this is going to be now the second checkpoint being approached here, the treacherous second checkpoint in Mako. If VCU clears this, that's huge, and it will be. Checkpoint 2 is going to be in play. 2 members have dropped on VCU, and UCSD has a decent mountain to climb because VCU just cleared up the all-important second checkpoint.
Oh my goodness, that's even better. Now that's how you sustain a push. You get yourself to that second checkpoint, and like you said, that is very important for any team looking to come back from anything. Now it's UCSD's turn. They need to be able to bring back what they've been able to do in games 1 and 2, is to just not find the lightning in a bottle. You need to have it there ready, and they could have it ready. They have these specials out. In fact, they got Bubbler out already. They got the cooler out as well. So hold on to this. Just hold on to this. You'll be fine.
Yeah, but now the problem is 2 members down at a critical time. I saw what Goldchild was trying to do there with the Kraken, trying to do some swooping to the other side, but VCU shuts down 2, which was the Zap and the Blaster. That's critical, because now that tower is going to be allowed to reset. Now you got 10 seconds left. Now you got 2 members out. Now you got to focus on staying alive as much as possible if you're VCU, but they're going to lose the crab. That's a huge crab that has dropped, but GG Wheels should be coming up here shortly if they are able to throw this at the correct position. There's Toto right there, throwing the GG Booyahs. That's going to be Lux. That should be fine. It doesn't seem to be it doesn't seem to stick, though. But as Oceanable has the bubble, it's a 3 members down, and that's going to be critical. That is all delayed wipe. That is the lead change, and UCSD Esports Gold goes of 3-0 once again on a come-from-behind win.
You said it! You said it! And I thought that was it for VCU. There's nothing else you have to do. Just put Lux on the tower. But all of a sudden, Lux goes down. Another player on VCU goes down, dropping in from the plat area. Oh, I can't help but think that this was VCU's game to lose. VCU's game to lose here, and yet they did. Lux is right there. Oh my goodness. I believe they struggled to get on the tower. That may have been and as a player. So when I look at when I look at this, I can't help but think Lux just had a bad break there, and I hope this is not the last we see of this. I just hope it's not the last we see of Lux, because straw that broke the VCU's back. But that's a really bad pun. I'm sorry for anyone watching stream then, but
You know what? Don't worry, but they heard you again. For those who are just checking in, we are back to had to iron out some technical issues, but but I think Nito, I think the best way you summed it up during after the replay was unfortunate. Unfortunate was pretty much the correct way to, and that's so unfortunate too because that was, that's the only way we saw was that it was just a bad angle on the tower. I feel like Lux did understood the assignment there, so I think that's just a bad break, and that's really unfortunate too because instead of talking to 2-1, 3-0, and now UCSD Esports Gold two more map wins will punch their ticket to next round.
yeah, and you know what? I was actually mentally preparing myself to tell you it's not match point in case you forgot. It
I
is.
almost did.
There we go. We're good. We're still working. It is best of 9 in the playoffs here, so it's not match point just yet. And I'm looking at this 3-0 situation and thinking UCSD isn't safe. I mean, granted, you won game 3. You're 3-0 now. You are, in your mind, you have to be thinking, okay, this is good. We're 3-0. But at the same time, you almost lost against VCU. That could have easily been 2-1, like you said. We would have been talking about a whole different match here. And that has to be on the back of their minds. Like, I don't know. I'm not shaking off that feeling right now if I'm them.
I mean, if you're in your, I mean, if you're in their shoes, I mean, it's pretty much the same feeling either way. It's like it was a great opportunity, and to just unfortunately squander. I know we talk more about it, but it was kind of a much needed map win just to get themselves within range, and now you're now down a 3 map deficit. Now, to your point, to anybody's point here, this has been a very strong VCU team throughout the set so far. I know Hegel. We've seen a lot of back and forth. It just came down to 2 critical plays that really that really kind of in essence gave UCSD a lot of momentum to work with. You go over to Undertow Rainmaker here, Nito, and I feel like a must win really to avoid being put in a reverse sweep situation.
Yeah, I mean they have the puzzle pieces together in those last 2 games, and you got to come in with game 4 saying, "All right, we have the entire puzzle out." So this is I hate to say it, but this is a do or die game for VCU, a team that's been awfully strong otherwise the rest of the season. By the way, that's a mini I think coming out from UCSD, so still a few adjustments here, and now they have a stamp of their own. I do like that.
So it's actually it's blasters playing the same main weapon, just flexed into a different setup here, and it's going to be Ultrasan, which I'm also a huge fan of in this case. And VCU is going to just opting to go back to the Wiper. Lux is just going to be back on Wiper dude for this one. Now, again, everything just needs to be pieced together. It's been a very competitive set so far for VCU. Just cannot let that get to you right now. So can they find that momentum that they need? And they throw the Ultra Sam is being thrown at the beginning. They're gonna look for the quick check, but the Rainmaker gets dropped right out of the gate there. Sure, you get 63 points rain, but you don't get the all-important checkpoint that you need. And UCSD Esports Gold defends.
Oh man, that was a dangerous stamp at some point. But then you get players that drop down like that from UCSD, and all of a sudden that push is, well, I mean, those 2 picks are actually fairly good for what Lux had to work with. So VCU gets themselves that close to the pedestal. You're probably thinking you wanted to get to that pedestal, but if you're VCU, you're opening up the first minute with a push toward that pedestal. You're closer than UCSD is, and you know you can keep them held back. Or can you?
Yeah, you should be able to now.
Okay.
I think you and I saw the vision, cracking to get an easy swim up, but it was just completely snuffed out there. VCU understood the assignment right away, of course, with the kind of with the pseudo beacon that the Rainmaker provides, and now VCU just trying to see if they can find an opening. Ooh. Okay, I have questions about that stamp toss. That's all I'm gonna say on that matter. That had to be just thrown into the side, and then they just find a random pick on that one. VCU big fat CCAs though, they're rushing up to the all important first checkpoint now. Mini just needs to slam this one home, which they will. More importantly for them, yes, you got that Rainmaker dropped right in. VCU gets some room to work with.
All I'm going to say about that stamp pick is close enough. Welcome back, Izuka, after that stamp buff. But moving on from that, VCU is starting to come in. I mean, look at where Lux is. Blackster is almost on the other side, almost on a different time zone here. They're coming in with all the aggression in the world. It's almost surprising to me that Rainmaker didn't go any further, and now they got 2 players down. VCU is doing much better here, and they're starting to play every game like they want to seal it within the first 3 minutes of the matchup. And I love that because you don't want to leave any uncertainty after that last match. Remember that VCU was that close to winning the game, and they're going to be like, all right, you know what? No more close calls here. We are going to have to seal everything at the start. We're going to seal everything into the first half, and they're doing a pretty decent job at it.
And UCSD Esports Gold, though, has 2 specials to work with now here, so VCU cannot afford to lose more ground. UCSD Esports Gold still trying to continue where they left off. They got an Ultra Sam, a Dragon, and a Trip Strike readily available, but Mini, however, has the Rainmaker on hand. And at this stage, can they find the opening that they work with? They know that there's a Kraken that is trying to chase Mini, and this is a wipeout. Everything just happened all at once. VCU Big Fat Seagulls does not quite get the thing to land, and Wami's actually just going to shuffle it to the left-hand side here, Nito.
And what else do you have to follow it up? Well, you have that stamp there, which is good, but you have 3 players down, which is very not good. And you have a wipeout, which is very, very not good if you're UCSD. VCU is looking at this and thinking, perfect. I'm already seeing Lux trying to make a break for it. Look, nobody on this left side here except for Opal. Opal's the only one to stop this. This is exactly what VCU wants with that trade. It's going to be a little difficult here, but you still have a trade on your hands. So, VCU still keeping it up here. You also have Fox on the other side here who goes... We got 1 player down. This is huge. This is what VCU needs, and this is what VCU is working with, and it's working so well.
For those who are tuning in and seeing the scoreboard of a 3-0, it has not been a dominant 3-0. VCU Big Fat Seagulls has been staying toe-to-toe so far with UCSD. Just VCU has to push it, piece it all together. But UCSD, don't count them out just yet here, Nito, with a minute left to go. As you've seen before, UCSD are clutch merchants at this rate.
55 seconds, and there is no clear winner despite what the scoreboard says. I know, I've seen this story all too well. It's Rainmaker. I know this all too well. This lead is very volatile. And with what UCSD has been able to produce for the rest of this set, who knows what could happen. 40 seconds to go. Time is ticking very quickly for him, but VCU still trying the same thing here. Now Blaster is able to get that pick with a stamp, but you do lose that stamp, and that would have been very crucial for UCSD. VCU has less specials to worry about, maybe 1 less player to worry about. Keon, it might go down to these last 20 seconds, but it also might not.
It may not matter here at this stage because VCU just has specials to work with. Again, this is going to be the save of the Booyah because keep an eye on that for sure. As we do get to see Blasted, they do have that their go-to maneuver has to make the movement. The hands on the Rainmaker is going to be on Ocean Opal's end. Will that Booyah get popped there? The cooler is available. There's going to be the OT setup here. Now, the other thing that UCSD Esports Gold has to deal with, by the way, is that they got to clear this checkpoint and then get a bigger lead as they are losing ground. Wait, the slosher machine has just went down as well. Total just went down. This is going to be the checkpoint. Now they got to pop through this barrier and see if they can beat the Rainmaker once again. As we do get to see the Trip Strike being available. Now no specials are alive. They got to find a pick here soon. Ocean Opal's right there. Ultra Sam does not find anybody, but Total has gone down. Ocean Opal is still holding on to this Rainmaker with greater movement, and it's another 3 down. But now can Fox be the clutch? Can be clutch? The answer is no, not again here, Nito. VCU Big Fat Seagulls loses lead again. UCSD Esports Gold, I tell you, clutch merchants 3 times out of 4. They're up 4-0. 1 more win for the sweep.
If you're UCSD right now, you're on top of the freaking world because you came back from an almost loss to hey, look, you have a 12 remaining lead. Guess what? We have absolutely everything, and we're going to throw it at your face. And if you can't defend this, you are losing this game. And VCU lost. So now UCSD is looking at this and thinking, now it's match point. We can do whatever we want in game 5, and we just might win. If you're VCU right now, panic. It's panic. I mean, now, granted, that we're still going to count game 3 as unfortunate. This is a whole different scenario, though. I mean, look at everything you have to work with here. But all of a sudden, you have Uami there dropping down towards the middle. The crab goes out. You drop down. That is a damaging loss to have there. UCSD are showing exactly why they're defending champs. And now they're on match point, looking ever so close to that semifinals match.
3 out of 4 games this set, Nito, coming down to the last second for UCSD. This has literally been the biggest difference so far this game. Game 2, I think at that point was probably the most convincing that we've seen out of the bunch because it was a KO. VCU at this stage is one game at a time mentality, but now everything needs to be cleaned up. And a lot of credit to UCSD Esports Gold. Again, they're up 4-0. I know we've been talking about the what a situation, but we gotta be honest here. Blaster's been excellent with the Zimmy from game 2. I know game 4 we were wondering if that hammer was clutchable. Didn't really matter at the end, but the team is playing in a whole nother level. And I guess what is it? Last ditch effort for the entire team. What feels like kicks in the last 30 seconds. It's been unreal. And UCSD Esports Gold, I gotta give them credit. Just staying calm and composed throughout this entire set.
I do want to say, UCSD Sports Gold in their little form said they will go to Canes after this set. If you win this last game, that is going to be the best three finger box combo, Caniac combo, chicken sandwich you've ever had in your life. So kudos to you. And this is really funny coming from a team that hasn't had decisive wins in the season. Most of them were 4-3. You had one against UCF that was 4-2. You look at VCU, they beat Death Roll, one of the strongest teams heading into the playoffs. You beat GMU in Central Michigan 4-1. Granted, you did lose against Splatlanders in that big upset match we saw at the start of the season, and you lost against our Haley too. But on paper, Big Fat Sea Cows is supposed to be far more dominant than UCSD. And then, I mean, the score is right there. I don't need to say anything. The score is right there, and it's no longer there. It's still there actually, but with a map.
You know, VCU. I will not count on VCU quite yet. It's literally just shoring up the defenses in the last few moments and just trying to stay cool in the last 15 seconds of a match. Again, I know it's been very disheartening. You know, you've probably been in this situation before, losing lead during OT. Now you got to go into Umami Clams Clam Blitz. Umami Ruins Clam Blitz. I needed to say clams twice there. You know, this is a good day. And now you're having to deal with kind of a shorter distance to the goal. I feel like VCU still has the pieces they need to piece together now a reverse sweep, but UCSD Esports Gold, if there's one thing they're really good at, is staying clutch.
Yeah, no kidding. VCU is looking at this, and your mentality, and yeah, like you said, I have been in this situation before. Your mentality is one of two things. Morale is either really low here, and you're thinking, all right, well, this is do or die now. I mean, we lose this match and we're out. Or you're thinking, okay, lock in. We're VCU. Remember, we're VCU. We're Division 3 in Ludi. We are a team that went against the strongest teams in the CCA League in Division 1. And we came out of the group of death, win the playoffs. So we still got this. This is 4-0. The reverse sweep will be something we tell our kids and our grandkids if it happens. So it all starts here. Let's just go ahead and see what happens. 4-0 UCSD Gold against VCU. Let's just see what happens.
Put it all on the line now at this stage. Fox understands the assignment too. How about an S 91 in total? By the way, going away from the machine to now a junior on this one. Your thoughts on the change?
It's okay. Okay, so now you have the bubble here. Okay, you have that pick too, but you have the bubble here. So now it's going back to that notion of sustaining pushes and making sure you can really hold down UCSD. Actually, so can I sustain a defense against UCSD and make sure that what happened in that last few seconds of the game doesn't happen again? Maybe, but with that for junior, you also have the splat bomb, so that's far more bomb pressure. I would have to look at the build again from that junior, but I do think that is going to be, that is sub-saver, so you definitely have that in mind.
Yeah, and now we got to see how this all plays out here. Both teams just gathering clams there. Blaster just unfortunately explodes to a splat bomb that was nearby. Just a little unfortunate in that regard. But Nito, it feels like it has been the story this entire set. It's been a back and forth affair in terms of the small skirmishes and the games that are kind of playing out here in the middle. So, but VCU Big Fat Seekouts, they do got that power clam that is available. There is a bubble that is available if they're able to put it in great position. Totally needs to find an opening. They got the cooler, so if they happen to go down, they should get that bubble back here soon. Dodo's trying to maneuver around it. They're still waiting for that opening here, Nito.
This feels like the latest Rocky movie in that UCSD is trying to prove they're not just any old team and they could still got it. Well, you've proved it enough. Here you are, 4-0. But now VCU starting to sneak their way in. I like what they're doing with that bubbler there. Unfortunate placement, though. That does make it smaller. But I mean, you have the bubbler, you have the junior. You're trying to at least keep it so where you can maintain that bomb pressure, go even further. But unfortunately for VCU, there's just not enough. It seems like there's always not enough for them. But here's a situation where there's more than enough for them. See if this works out for them.
Just immediate turnaround there as well. We talked about UCSD Esports Gold not having enough in game one. Now this time it's gonna play out here with a 1+3. Make that a 1+ whatever number here at this rate. It's gonna be 20. Yeah, 1+10 small clans being cashed in. I don't think there's gonna be any more that's on the table. So VCU just gonna have to escape right away with about 2 minutes and 40 seconds left to go, Nito. Again, you're not quite halfway there, but you are giving yourself a maneuver to work with. Lux has a better ultrasound, well timed there, shutting down Blaster, so that will slow some maneuver on the other side. And UCSD Esports Gold will still have to gather clams.
Now VCU is still, I mean, look at this. They have one player down, and yet UCSD is still losing players of their own. I mean, VCU is looking pretty solid here, and you don't need to look very aggressive. You don't need to look like you're always heading towards the clan basket. You just need to look solid. You need to make sure you have enough defense to keep UCSD in their spot, and you seem to be doing fairly well there, save for that stamp pick, but I want to see them maintain this because UCSD can be so scary at the last few seconds of the game. When you have 2 picks like that with Lux on the stamp, you're doing pretty well.
Yeah, and now Gotron had to use the Kraken to kind of play it very defensively. Love the maneuver with that as well. And VCU is going to have to be stalled out just a tiny bit. It bought UCSD some time to regroup here on this defensive maneuver, and it is going to shut down 2 members there. And that Power Clan likely entering the void here soon with UCSD moving just a bit upwards. So yeah, Power Clan gone, and that isn't going to be available here soon. A lot of gold now in the picture here with UCSD. About 1:20 left to go. Still very much manageable. And I think they also have the free clan that is still back at base, so they got some room to work with.
Okay, so this is where that bomb pressure comes in. Now you see UCSD still losing a few players. Wow, okay, there is a pick coming out from the stamp, or from the super jump there. It doesn't come to fruition there. Okay, that's where the Booyah Bomb's coming in. That still gets a pick, so that's still very good there. You have Nerdy Adam there who goes down to that bomb. Toto doing a lot of work with these splat bombs. That's exactly what you want to see if you're VCU. You want to be able to hold them back from afar, and those bombs are going to do a very good job of it.
So right now, 45 seconds left to go. This is going to almost effectively be the last push, unless UCSD has a response. The answer does not seem to be there, as VCU comes out on top of the 3 with 3 members taken out from UCSD's end. That's going to be the cash-in coming in here. Now they're going to be able to cut this, extend the lead, excuse me, to 28 points remaining. They have cashed in 72. They are likely going to have to retreat there, but 2 members already going down. Blaster had that team something right there on that side, and that is a few clans being chucked into the picture. Their total throws in a few more to extend this timer. Now UCSD has a huge mountain to climb here with about 12 seconds left to go, but this push still very much alive. One more clan for the KO if they can find it, and there it is. VCU pulls up the 100-0. This set stays alive for another round rather.
Oh, okay, stream chat. I know you're loving this. This is a different VCU team, and I don't mean to sound cliche, but now VCU is that was far more, I think, commanding of a match for VCU than I saw in those previous 4 matches, because you lost, let's admit it, they did lose quite a bit in the end there, but now you came in and you wanted to make dang sure you won this match. Well, here it is. You got 3 more clams coming in. You have, notice where the pencil is, right on the top, or like the top of your screen there. Or not the pencil, but the stamper, whatever player you have there. That could, those cases, it was this wiper actually. But as long as you have that command there from the top, as long as you can keep yourself stationed, as long as you sustain this push, VCU is not, things are clicking now for VCU. And this is perfect if you're them, because you're looking at this 4-1 and thinking, okay, this 4-1, sure, but this was 100 to KO. This is still our game. I mean, this is going to be the reverse sweep that feeds generations if it happens.
They still got to win a few more maps to get there though. So they may not
Yeah, a
want to
few.
jump. Man. They got to get there. But this is, let's be real, Nito. I think if you're VCU, I think you're gonna probably share the same thought as I have. You gotta be feeling really good coming in with a 100-0 KO, almost
Yeah.
near guaranteed. You gotta be feeling really good now coming into the next game. And again, with the way this back and forth is going on, I feel like the entire mentality kind of felt like Nito is, we are able to compete with UCSD. We just got to clean up everything that we can, just to avoid putting ourselves in this situation once more. And that huge lead really helps matters. Now you got to go over to Mahi zones there, where the game kind of changes past 60 points remaining. So I want to see how this plays out for VCU. I look at the one quick key to victory there, which let Lux do Wiper things. I mean, Lux I feel like was a very different player throughout that previous game. Now VCU has to just piece it all together.
Yeah, I mean, you did say it best, Keon. This is a map where, and you mentioned 60 points remaining and it's changing, or really just changed at 60 remaining. But like VCU, if you want to show me that you can sustain a push and you can keep it rolling for long after you set yourselves up, this is the map. This is the map where you can prove to us that you can reach 4-2, and these next three matches are going to be anything but uncertain for UCSD. So I don't know. I'm looking at, if I'm VCU, I'm looking at this and saying, all right, is this another must win? Sure, but this must win has momentum in our favor. So I like Game 6, and I want to see what VCU comes up with in Game 6.
I feel, and to join UCSD's end, I mean, to just stabilize the line a little bit. They have a lot of wiggle room to work with here, Need. I think that's a fair thing to say here. With especially one more win, we'll get them to the next round. So they're likely dishing out something different there. That's Uami on the Vanilla Dreadringer. Yes, it very much is. That took me a
Ooh.
second. Nerdy Adam, by the way, is on the Aqua Shot. Now, I see Nerdy Adam on an equivalent weapon of this nature. Not surprised. And by the way, Fox is going to be dishing out the Vanilla Slosh this time.
Yeah, no, that's good. Because now if you want to maintain your positioning or at least get people upwards, you have, I don't call them GG strikes in that case. I call them strikes because I don't have a good nickname for him yet. But if you're VCU, that means you can still hold position from afar, and that's exactly what you want to see from your weapons. But Uami there has the range from the Dread Ring. It's just a bit more range than that Sasha, so it's going to be very helpful there. Dueling Stamps coming out, but only one of them comes out alive. Oh my goodness. Okay, VCU still holding on, though. I mean, look at this.
Now the fact that they're able to hold the line is really, really good so far. And by the way, Nito, for every Ultra Stamp hater in there, both Ultra Stamps getting canceled. They're going to be very happy to see that for sure. As this is now turning into something really huge here all of a sudden, as we're about to see 40 points remaining. The Stamper is able to shut down two, but Lux is able to respond from the other side, and that is two members that have gone down. The Reslider Cheese does not succeed. They lose a lot of members being flown in there. UCSD is staggering just one by one, and that Dreadringer is going to be coming out of spawn a little later than normal. They're going to lose the Auto Shot. Now they're only two members up at the stage.
Oh no.
As Blaster is going to get shut down. Momentum defining moment here, Nito.
Oh no.
That is another KO on the board. That's VCU winning Game 6.
Oh no. What was the time when the game ended? Hold on. What was the time when the game ended? Because that was like, yeah, because like you had to have been like 3:30 for a minute and 30-second KO at this stage of the game, down 4-1. And I told you that this game was going to be a must-win game for you if you wanted to prove to me that you can sustain these pushes. Well, congratulations. He's not only proved it to me, I'm now wearing a Virginia Commonwealth University shirt, and I don't need to switch to webcams to fact check that because I might be wrong, but oh man, 3:40. So it's actually a minute 20 seconds. That UCSD, you better watch out. VCU is coming in all guns blazing. And I'm not going to say anything because I do well and truly want to see what happens. I don't want to curse anything. No, nothing.
We're gonna have to hold the censor bar over Nito at this rate. Gonna not jinx anything. Now, I'll be serious here though. UCSD, that was almost panic moment at the very end. Everybody kind of just swimming, rushing right in stagger game was kind of evident there, so it kind of felt like the panic was settling in a little bit for UCSD. And I think that's something that they will easily show up. Again, if this is anything that we've seen so far in the set, and UCSD has done a phenomenal job all set, is being clutch when it matters here. So I feel so they just gotta they just gotta piece it all together here. We move on to a different map here. I think that's Mahi Mahi Zones. That was game 6. Game 7, very awkward map mode here is Humpback Pump Track Tower Control, which normally doesn't see airtime here in Splatoon land.
Yeah, no, Humpback is a little awkward, but the good news for both teams is that you do have a Slosher, and Slosher is one of my favorite weapons to have here, apart from maybe Blaster and sometimes a Dynamo. It's a really funny weapon to have, but I mean, you have Sloshers on both sides. You had an S-Blast come out. I think with Humpback, you guys should be fine, but with how much turf there is to cover, VCU and the way they're playing so far, this is still looking very good for you because now you have a lot of turf to cover. You have a lot of space to take up. With the way you're playing right now, that's exactly what you want to be looking for. It's also going to depend on your approach because remember that a lot of teams forget this, but there is another side you can flank through. And if we have Lux go up to that side, well, then who knows what happens. But UCSD, I remember these first 3 matches, and I remember how volatile it can be. I think UCSD still has got what it takes. Don't get me wrong, but you're looking at this 4-2, and if you're just coming in, it looks a little close. But at one point, this was 4-0. So who really knows? Who really knows? I want to see what happens.
This started off 4-0, but that was which anybody who has read box scores in sports across the world know that's not a dominant 4-0 in the slightest. It was
28-3.
That was a very 4-0 that is a lot closer than what the scoreline shows. So that's something that everybody needs to keep an eye on is how back and forth this game has been. VCU has a lot of the momentum. UCSD just has to piece it all together. Again, having to keep their heads up. Back-to-back KOs, not the greatest feeling. But now you got a chance in a very awkward map mode here, for UCSD to take this one home. And of course, VCU needs the win to stay alive here in this one. Okay, forget the 3 weapons that has been the same here in VCU. It's almost a wholesale change with Lux being the consistent wiper. Blaster, by the way, on the dualies there, the order version of it for that matter.
All right, VCU, you've been watching the wrong Div 1 team because why do I see a custom Explo? Is Vapor now on your team? Anyway, no, I mean, to be fair, Custom Explo is another weapon that I'd want to see. I did say Sloshers, so if you're going to pull out Custom Explo, I guess now's the time. And you do want to make drastic changes. You want to keep with the same game style or play style you've been looking for these last few matches. Now, and especially with this, oh wow, that is perfect too, because now you have 3 players bunched up here. One of them jumps out, I believe, so now you still have 2 picks there, so that's good for VCU. And it's good that they're still holding on to, or still playing the same way that's been working out so well for them. In fact, look at Fox. Wow, that is I want to say that's aggressive, but it's almost perfect if you're an Expo player.
That's a perfect time if you're an Expo player. This is a very aggressive Fox that was trying to play frontline custom Expo, and it worked out in dividends here so far. That's going to be Ultra Stamp. That's going to shut down one. They're going to have to retreat here as the trip strikes. Only 2 of them land. That's going to allow Mini to pop this Inkjet right away. Not going to find anybody. Just going to be sniped out of there with that Inkjet. Holds the ground. That's going to be 52 points remain. 48 points cashed in for that matter there. VCU holds a little bit of the line, but that is the first checkpoint cleared more or less.
Asher, if you're on stream, I know you play Expo, you need to be watching this right now because Fox is the most aggressive I've ever seen in an Expo, but I do love that. I like that this Explo is being used as this sort of aggro weapon that can poke from afar, similar to the same way a decap could. So I like that VCU is attempting to be more aggro with weapons you wouldn't often see on the front lines here, but look, almost escapes that. Wow, okay, Goat Child almost does end up getting the pick there, but like I said, Fox being so aggressive here, but it does go down. UCSD, this is your opportunity to show that you still have what it takes to maintain this push here. This is going to be good crab placement here for you. We'll see what comes out of this.
Yeah, there's gonna be the one thing that I want to see here is, can this crab do enough to deter VC from moving in? You still have to do with the custom explode. Trip strikes, by the way, a very offensive-minded trip strikes there that is gonna get them the lead and the cushion to work with, but nobody really around this tower anymore other than Blaster, which, well, Blaster's been neutralized there. But they're still finding picks left and right. So this is going to likely allow VCU to at least hold the line for a little bit longer, but UCSD, they played that one very, very well. Blaster in the right position for the crab,
Ooh.
and then pulling up with the trip strikes. Needs to secure that, to secure the push. But look out right now.
Ooh.
Has a wipe out on the board.
Oh, and that is a good cancel there from, I believe that had to be Fox, because the Fox is now taking up every piece of turf in this game. But with VCU, I mean, look at how well you've been able to recover from what was a lead-changing push to another lead-changing push from y'all. You have to be looking at this and saying, okay, we have certainly got something going on here. You should be able to keep this tower going if you have somebody on the tower, but they certainly do. I mean, oh my goodness, this is perfect, and this is perfect for VCU. UCSD still struggling a little, and they've almost cleared this checkpoint, which is going to be huge if VCU can do it.
Yeah, VCU just needs to clear out everywhere for the checkpoint, and they actually keep this timer just a little bit alive. But that Kraken, very clutch, actually at least forces the tower a little bit back. But VCU has a lot of control on the board here at this stage. And lose two for two trade. Ocean Opal is able to take out a couple members there, and then the shutdown on the total. But Mini still right this checkpoint for all their might, and Mini gets the shutdown. That is a huge shutdown. The third checkpoint has been cleared. Mini is still right this tower for all their might, down to 3 points remaining, and UCSD is literally hanging on by a thread, and are forcing this tower backwards.
Oh, UCSD, you barely save yourselves with certain defeat there, but you have a big mountain to climb. Look at how much blue there is on the map. VCU is playing zone defense here. We're not even on football. Blaster stands around for a second there, but I mean, look at how well VCU is able to cover the turf that they have. It's going to be very difficult for UCSD to come in because they rely on just being able to find these picks one by one and just being able to pick them out individually, which are actually doing pretty well right here. So maybe it's not too bad after all, but VCU has two specials online. 40 seconds to go. Keon, you need to take me the rest of the way here because I hate to waste your time on what could be a great call.
I will do my best, Nito. As Mini is able to shut down the second member there from UCSD Esports Gold. Now here's the thing, UCSD is able to run this one through. A delayed 3-down situation should help their cause. Mini is popping this inkjet, trying to fire right at the tower. This should be the checkpoint being cleared. UCSD Esports Gold has a lot of chance to maneuver right then and there. They just have to wrestle this one a little bit more. Who will get the pick in the last 10 seconds? Blaster has gone down. That's 3 members down. But so did they lose Fox. As Wally, by the way, has trip strikes. They're going to use the trip strikes most likely to get this third all-important checkpoint. They just got to shut them down. The trip strikes being used. 2 members have dropped right then and there. Kraken being used, but it's just the lone Kraken. It is not going to be enough. The Kraken's been pushed off the tower. Nito, VCU survives again 3 games in a row, winning Game 7, and they are still very much alive.
I'm glad we're commentators because if I'm in this match, I need to have a cardiologist on standby and perhaps some paramedics. UCSD, even in that one push where they had 4 players up, I mean, you noticed Opal for a second there, just barely hanging on to the tower by a thread. Uwami here has trip strikes, and to some it might be GG strikes, but for there it's just too uncertain there. Blaster tries to go for the pick on Lux, but that is just too easy for Lux to pick off there. That Kraken not enough. I mean, oh man, it's still closer than it actually comes back to being closer than ever, but it's in VCU's favor as compared to the first half of the match where it was all UCSD's game to lose. But now it's like this is a complete 180. I mean, what more can I say that hasn't been said and then said again?
If one more game is won, fabled Game 9 coming up here in CCA Division 1 quarterfinals. You can't have it any other way, especially 2 really good teams on the board here, Nito. I mean, let's be real. VCU's pushed down to 3 points, made great room to work with. UCSD, I'm gonna be real, UCSD actually had a really strong setup in the last seconds. I noted there was the trip strikes that were available. Kraken was there from Goldchild. Just unfortunately, all the surrounding members going down meant that Goldchild, especially with the Kraken, which has a lot more, what's the word I'm trying to say, recoil or being pushed off super easily in Kraken form, kind of prevented that from materializing. So now UCSD Esports Gold, this is slipping away a lot quicker than they envisioned there. Excuse me, we're on to Game 8. UCSD Esports Gold needs to collect themselves. More importantly, in the set you had a 4-0 lead. Now you've lost 3 in a row. You just got to figure out what sticks right now. Museum Dale, Foncino, Rainmaker, another well-practiced map. We're going to be in very well-practiced maps the rest of the way here, Nito. So this is going to be pretty intriguing to watch.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, Rainmaker is a mode that I say is one of the most, or it really is one of the most volatile in all of competitive Splatoon. So I hope you've been doing your cardio, is all I'm going to say, because game 8, who knows what can happen. And for VCU, you do have one solace in that you're playing zone defense. And what I mean by that is that with this map, you can have one person in mid. You can have a few players on the enemy spinner, which is going to be this little, well, obviously the spinning thing. But
Yeah.
the thing about this is that you now have a map that is going to suit your playstyle really well, but you have to use it very well in order for it all to work. So it's not like it's giving you the game for free. UCSD still has what it takes. If they can just if they find you out of position, they're gonna take you out, and they're gonna take that numbers advantage and try to run with it. So it's nothing's certain, but it's definitely in your favor.
I think VCU is going to also run with this momentum that they're running with. You had 2 KOs. Of course, the last one not quite a KO here, Nito. So now you got to move on to this game 8, but you all have won 3 in a row. One more to the fabled game 9, and keeping the reverse sweep dreams alive. Nerdy Adam's going to be going on with the vanilla shot, and now Fox is going to try to is now trying to show if they can be a better mini Splatling on the board. I think Toto is going to be dished out the junior. I think that might be the same weapon they've been dished out. I think everything's kind of a blur right now here, Nito. 10 seconds into this one, this is what we're dealing with.
Everything's a blur, and I don't have the appropriate glasses for it because who really knows what's going to happen. I do want to see, but I mean, looking at these comps here, I like that VC is still kind of sticking to the guns. You do go more aggressive. You actually have 2 stamps here, which is something you don't see often, if at all, in competitive Splatoon, but what does it matter? You have Uami there, able to get 2 picks here. Whoa, that stamp was really close, but another player from Big Fat CCA is able to get a few more points on the board, see how long this lasts. I mean, VCU now just going in with reckless abandon, has everyone going up. Why is left all the way up here? Who knows? It's just so perilous for VCU, and yet working so well in the meantime.
The idea with Lux is that it distracted 3 members, it felt like, or maybe even 2, trying to chase down Lux, and that meant that UCSD Esports Gold had to basically retreat. Excuse me. I think Lux was just trying to go for something very silly there, just or Seeking for that matter, got shut down. Rainmaker does reset. That's the first checkpoint, all important checkpoint being used. Zuko's being fired from distance. It's not going to find anybody so far, but they are going to shut down Lux once again. Lux is definitely trying to play as aggressive as they can, but again, to what cost? A delayed 3-down situation. This is a huge opening for UCSD.
Oh, I talk about risky moves, and that was a risky 1v1 that quickly turned into for Toto on the side of Big Fat Sea Cows, but UCSD now able to get their own checkpoints. So no checkpoints, gloves are off for both teams, which is exactly what you want to see when you're a spectator hero. Not what you want to see if you're VCU though, because as I mentioned, this can get very perilous very quickly here, especially with UCSD. They're doing so well in taking these advantages as we've seen throughout the rest of this game and the entire set. So VCU needs to play just a little bit more cautious here. I know you want to be reckless, I know you want to be fast, but you have to be cautious here or else UCSD will take it and run with it.
That's a big thing. They're running with it. Mini has found an opening. 26 points remaining, and that was a huge push that Mini needed. And again, that was actually kind of a very smart play. Everybody in UCSD kind of scrambling across the board, and that's all it's going to be at that stage in the game. And now VCU, someone in the driver's seat. Nito, your read on whether 26 points remaining is the game-winning push.
It's certainly very good here because you get past Spinner, and it's very hard to get past this little divot there, right past Spinner. So at VCU, you got to look at this and thinking, okay, this is a pretty good push here. But it's UCSD you're going against, so nothing is going to be a very good game-defining push. But if you're VCU, you're looking at this and thinking, if we can run away with a push like that, we may actually win this game. We just hold it, but you do have to hold it.
That again, 3 out of 4 victories for UCSD has come in clutch time. I like to say, last 30 seconds plus OT, and that is how things get to change on a dime. 2-for-2 trade should be as neutral as you can possibly get. Rainmakers, by the way, being picked up here. This is kind of a
Whoa!
bold. Okay, what are you? Okay,
Whoa!
I'm trying to. I think I like the idea, but this is a clean snipe here from Gocho. Now this Rainmaker is kind of in a very odd location to say the least.
All the tricks coming out of VCU's sleeve and said, you want the Rainmaker, come take it. You're going to be, not only are you going to have to just reach up to grab it, you're going to be facing our own sea of blue here. So go ahead, try it, see what happens, is what they're saying with this Rainmaker placement. It's working really well. UCSD is still trying to go for the picks here. They going man coverage while VCU is playing zone defense. I'm not an American football coach, but this looks like a pretty good situation for VCU, and they might win the Super Bowl here. But this isn't the Super Bowl. This is the CCA playoffs, and it's still looking mighty good here with a minute to go.
Talk about playoffs right now, Nito. We talk about playoffs. 50 seconds left to go. I think I got you the rest of the way here. As we're gonna be seeing, you got a battle. Two members have gone down. UCSD Esports goal. Now again, that Rainmaker being in that position. VCU is just trying to play a skirmish game right now, trying to see if they can solve it out for the important game 9. I love it, and now Fox is just trying to run deterrent right now. Where is that push that's gonna happen? There's the pop, but there is Lux right behind them with the Ultra Sand pick. Now this Ultra Sand being chucked around, just trying to see if they can find anybody else. The answer is not quite there, as Adam is now retreating to the other side. This is going to be UCSD's last chance, most likely to strike big. They lose one member. The Rainmaker has reset. They need to pop this one and pick this one up for OT, but 9 seconds left to go on the clock. Toto is right there. There's the pop. Will they find somebody else in the picture? Splat bombs being chucked in. Can they pick it up? The answer is yes. It is now overtime. Overtime now played. Now they got to find the pick at this stage, and they do. And Nito, absolute cinema onto game 9. VCU extends his wins game number 8.
Was that okay? VCU, this is you and me now, all right? I'm asking you this question personally. Was that showmanship when they had the junior and the snipe fighter just both at the cooler like they're talking about the weather in the office, or is it because they knew exactly what was about to take place? Because here's Toto. All Toto needs to do is work with bomb placement if UCSD picks up the Rainmaker, which they have to. And now you've got all 3 players there. Mini gets 3 players on the mid, and the Rainmaker goes down. Was this planned? Was it just a spur of the moment thing? I don't know. It just works out so beautifully. And I don't want to say anything. We're in game 9. Don't say anything, Nito, please. Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna stop you right there, buddy. I will make sure you don't jinx anybody live in this game. I mean, talk about a huge turnaround here. I feel like, however, we both kind of feared this was going to be the turnaround that VCU needed. Yep, there you go. That is, I think, the feeling that everybody's making right now. My heart rate's also going up here, too. Just watching that all unfold. Nito, game 9 situation. No, this is not the tradition. That is real. On to game 9. When it do or die, best of 1. You know the drill by now. This game to move on to the next round. Nito, this has been a classic game to watch. And again, you look at the 4-0 scoreline when we went up the first 4 games. Not a dominating 4-0. It came down to 3 critical plays. VCU roaring back to win the next 4. One more win for VCU to guarantee the reverse sweep. UCSD looking to deny it. This should be a lot of fun.
You know, the funny part about all this is that VCU stalled the Rainmaker without having the Rainmaker, because you put it on that little glass part. There's not even a call out for that specific part, because why would there be? But I mean, you stalled it there. You didn't have to pick up the Rainmaker. VCU just holds onto it without holding onto it. And UCSD now all of a sudden has to make this last minute push and hope they can secure a coast to coast push here. So VCU is extremely scary. This needs to say 4-4, but I don't think he'll capture the feeling that I'm having right now, because no matter what I say, no matter what I talk about, in terms of tactics or strategy, what they're going to pull out for barnacle clams, it's really all up in the air as to what is going to happen.
You know what? I think it's safe to say I was about to ask myself what the record is for Clam Blitz. Not forget, it's the first four and the last four. Everybody is tied up 1-1 apiece. As you get to see, as you get to see the Vormix in play. Thanks Neptune.
Wow. Okay.
I see you there trying to mess with the jukebox at that stage. And let's see how this all plays out. Yes, that scoreboard says 4-3. No, it is not 4-3. It is a 4-4 tie. Game 9 is coming up here. Nito, do or die for both teams. Winner moves on to the next round, and the loser ends any hopes of winning Div 1. What do you see so far? I think this is almost as similar as you can possibly get.
Okay, UCSD coming out with the blaster now. They're bringing back this bubbler, and what this will do is maybe I don't know. It's UCSD. They want to keep playing to advantages here, but maybe they're looking at the same way VCU has been doing this whole set. Is just try to make sure they can sustain an advantage. Try to push up and make sure they can not just keep pushing up, but stay there. And that's maybe what they're looking for with this blaster. But the blaster goes down, and now VCU, of course, just sticking to their guns here. There's nothing you need to change for this. Look at Toto here knows that need few more clams just to get rid of this basket, and they do have a power clam here. Look at this. They know exactly what they want. Look at how confident they're playing here. This is a totally different VCU. Oh my goodness, they still have a power clam to get to, and they can get that in time. It'll certainly be big, and they do.
Yeah, they got that power clam just in time, and this is an extended push. Down to 45 points remaining. The Ultra Stam is not going to mean anything for scoring, but two members have gone down. UCSD in the wrong end of the respawns here. Mini, I think it's just going to be about a hair too late for that one. Going to have to retreat. Nito, that first push gave them a lot of room to work with.
Yeah, no kidding. You're 45 remaining, and you're still at this part of the map. What good is UCSD's changes to their comp if you have VCU who's just sticking there because they know they can stick it there. They know they can keep their positioning until they get a push off like that. Now this is where UCSD comes in. They do have these picks. They do have a few more on the table. This is where UCSD is supposed to shine because of how well they can do off these advantages. Umami there at least noticing the situation and noticing the situation there, understandably backing up, but UCSD not able to play to their strengths here. Nothing manifesting out of those picks so far. That stamp was very close for Goatchild there, but UCSD still in a bit of trouble here. VCU still holding on.
VCU has two power clams on the board. Again, for those who are just tuning in, this is a legit Game 9. 4-4 tie coming in between UCSD and VCU. This is, again, the best of one situation now at this stage. You got a power clam that is available. One has disappeared off the radar. This is a Uwami in a really terrible position and was able to escape with their lives. Lux is right there. They're still trying to lurk large. And Lux not able to find the stamp.
Oh,
but that's
no.
not gonna matter. That's gonna force the retreat. One power clam is swimming their way forward. Will they find themselves in a position to do so? That's gonna be the ultimate question. Ultra Noble is gonna have other ideas right now with about 40 seconds elapsed into 2:25 left to go on the clock. Excuse me, I don't know where I said 40 seconds from. Bubble has been used, and this is going to be very patient play coming out right now. They've gotten a member out of the picture. They got two. This is going to be a huge push. Coming right now, Fox gets the power climb in. There's going to be the second one. Down to 32 points remaining. At the seams, they have to burn the trip strikes. These are very defensive trip strikes. Drip strikes there. They'll also the other problem too. The other power climb has also disappeared off the picture. Two members have dropped, but three members have dropped there as well. UCSD picking up the free clam to get the other free clam spawned in. That's gonna be the ultimate stuff that they need. And Nito, 20 points remaining, now looking really good.
Oh, you're looking really good because this is the worst tape we've ever seen, because every time you seal up a hole with tape, another one just pops out. So what good is the tape? That's what's happening with UCSD. They seal up something, but VCU just finds another way through. It's so fast that UCSD just doesn't know what to do with it, but they do have a numbers advantage here. They are moving their way up slowly. You do need this push to manifest because of how well VCU's been doing the rest of this match. And oh my goodness, VCU is still finding the picks here.
I'm gonna, you know what, Nito, with 1:15 minutes left to go, I have enough oxygen left in the tank to keep going.
Take the driver's wheel, dude.
You got it. Let's see what ends up playing out here. Ocean Opal is trying to put everything into position. The bubbler's being used. There's the Ultra Stamp on the other side. There's gonna be another push in for UCSD. They are gonna have to spawn another power clam in that's gonna be able to cut down the steps by about 40 points, or basically halfway there. And this Lost pick takes out Adam and takes out 3 members as well. Now they got another power clam available. 46 points total is what they need. They got 2 power clams to do so. If they find an opening, VCU is going to be able to has the chance for the KO. But UCSD, they need to clamp down on defense and find the return offense that they need. 1 power clam is available. They are going to at least guarantee OT if they have to wait it out that long. There are 3 power clams. They're looking for the knockout punch here. VCU, that is. But will VCU find the opening? That's gonna be the question. UCSD is gonna be right there, just trying to see what they can find.
No.
17 seconds left to go on the clock. They have to throw that power claim in. Here comes the Ultra Civ. Here comes the cover they need. That's 2 members that have gone down. Double Ultra Civ. Everybody's roaring through. There's the opening that they need. There's 1 power clam. They got the other big. 2 members have gone down. All 3 power clams have been dished in. CCA friends and audiences, you have just witnessed a Division 1 reverse sweep in quarterfinals. VCU wins 5-4. They move on to the next round.
VCU, coming in from the Group of Chaos Division 1 Group 2, brings chaos to UCSD and has knocked out the defending champions in the first round. You cannot make a stronger statement than what you did today, because not only did you win, you came back from down 4-0. Look at this. There's 3 power clams in. There is a KO coming in. You don't even wait for the timer to end. Oh my goodness, UCSD. Thank you for showing up. And honestly, you did very well. But VCU shows up even stronger in this second half. Stronger than I've seen in my time in the CCA league. And I mean, the replay can go on over and over again, but ultimately, all y'all know the story.
I feel like I have witnessed an instant classic in the CCA once again, and this was a beautiful set to watch. This was a reverse sweep that I feel like is only one minuscule part of this entire story here, Nito. Because let's be honest, UCSD was so darn good in the clutch in the first 4 games. That's why they were able to get the 4-0 start to go. There comes the stat lines, to say the least, and this was a very, very dominant VCU game that showed up. I'll talk more about how this set played out, but Nito, anything that strikes out to you from what you see here from the stats?
Look at every number from VCU. I mean, there is so much paint coming out of it. There's so many specials coming out of it, and as a result, there's not much UCSD does in the way of picks, because now VCU has low numbers here. So, I mean, VCU just needs to sit back, and UCSD needs to find something out of it. So as a result, they play aggressive. They play almost too aggressive for their own good. You see some negative numbers coming out from them. But, I mean, VCU, these numbers are probably the best numbers you will see hopefully not all season, because you have a match waiting for you against Death Roll, so you better be staring right at Death Roll and saying, you guys see what happened? You see these numbers. You're next if you don't know how to counter this.
You know, I have so many words, and I gotta give my hearts out and full credit to UCSD. They played, again, I'm gonna keep saying this, they played phenomenal. I know we've been talking about everything that VCU did for the most part, but UCSD, honestly, that team showed up in that when it started to matter the most. But VCU had made all the adjustments they needed to get the reverse sweep all the way home, and I know there's so many words I could really say here for that one, as we're gonna get some stats up for you guys to just break through. 5-4 finish for Big Fat Sea Cows. Moving on to the next round, but UCSD, they have been denied the chance to get a back-to-back Division 1 title, so that's gonna be it for the season. But I mean, a very, very legendary group, to say the least, though. Especially Gochao, who's just been around this team for quite a long time. Here's the Mahi Mahi zone stats, and yeah, this is exactly what I figured.
Oh no, look at these numbers. I mean, look at the specials being popped. I mean, doesn't look spectacular from VCU's end, but this is, I think, the reason I chose this match specifically is because it's such a pivotal match it's such a pivotal match in this entire set because this is a match where I watched them KO within a minute and 20 seconds, and I think, wow, okay, no. VCU is deadly scary, and they are serious about coming back into this game. Because now I see, looking at these stats, it's no wonder. I mean, Mini is flawless. Lux goes goal was one pick down, but they're still putting out enough paint. At least Mini and Lux, the weapons that are needing to paint the most. Toto doesn't need to rely as much because of his bombs, but like this is the match in which everything turns around for VCU. If there was any doubt in Game 5, you go into Game 6 and that comes out, and it's like, I mean, drastic
Yep.
difference. I mean, at the UCSD was having the same conversation actually.
Yeah. So I want to bring up this game too here as well, because this was probably the most convincing win UCSD had in the early stages of this one. Then that's when you knew that okay, maybe we could be seeing a nice little run back here from UCSD. And this is kind of what we saw the back and forth that we saw. It took a lot of specials out of the board from both teams to get the zones neutral, but it definitely looked like UCSD had a strong play there. And Toto had a rough game. That kind of just sums it up. Go Child and Blaster, I mean, on UCSD played great to say the least for the team, did what they needed to do. But that game too, I think, was UCSD's best performance. But as you mentioned before, that Mahi Mahi zones game that we saw earlier, I think tides ultimately turned then.
We saw two different games. I don't. I can't understate it enough. I mean, I can't say it enough. I mean, games 1 to 5, even with VCU, the Big Fat Sea Cows winning Game 5, it's still like, okay, you won, but I want to make sure you can win because they're still 4-1. They can take this back at any given moment. Here's Game 2. Here's Game 1 already happened. UCSD won that set 4-1. The problem is we're playing on aggregate score now, and now VCU comes in, wins the rest of these games. And that Mahi Zones match is the moment in which I, along with probably everybody else here, saw that something had changed drastically. And I mean, I don't know what else to say. This is the greatest one of the greatest playoff games we've seen all season, and I hope we see more of it.
You know what? I really hope to see more as we go. I mean, again, hats off to UCSD. They valiant effort throughout. I mentioned before, clutch merchants throughout the first 4 games.
God.
3 out of 4 in the last 3 out of 4 games, 1 in OT at the end, and that's really what made the difference there. But at the end of the day, VCU winning Game 5, running that one all the way home to 5 straight wins, point off the fabled reverse sweep, which it feels like it's been a long time since I've seen that on the board. So, I mean, anybody watching in this set and anybody outside of CCA watching this set, just needs to watch the set for how intense this set was. But Nito, we gotta get our heart rates calmed down just a little bit more because that's it for us on the lone Saturday side. We got another Sunday-filled slate up ahead tomorrow. I mean, I think there's at least 4 games in the main CCA channel. Of course, one on IPL, which I'll be covering here, which I'll be covering with Zach as well. But excuse me, before I head off, Nito, where can the people find you?
At this good old little thing at the right side, right here, right? This one. Nito Unused at Blue Sky on social, and I Nito Unused on Twitch, and the rare occasion I do stream. And you can also find me. Honestly, this hat's fine. I was gonna say get another hat, but honestly, this one's good. This one's good. I like the jersey too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I could have worn the other jersey to hurt you, but I think that'd be too mean now at this point. I mean, you guys can find me, of course, Keon2570, Blue Sky, Twitch. You know the drill. Twitch, I do my variety streams on Mondays, especially with how intense the Splatoon season's playing out for everybody involved. So there's that. Of course, I call multiple other Splatoon tournaments and leagues throughout. So you can find me there. Neptune gets my shoutouts for running production here tonight. I mentioned before, I will be covering the IPL game, y'all, on IPL Splatoon. That's the Twitch channel. With Zach, we'll be covering a Div 2 quarterfinal set on that channel at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, and 5 p.m. Pacific. Don't ask why I said it in that order. That was where my brain went. But that is all from us here on CCA with Neptune, our producer, and our Michael commentator Nito. This is Kalen saying, enjoy the rest of your Saturday. We're gonna need to get ourselves a little break here.
Hi guys, I just want to make a quick announcement here, and I want to give a huge round of applause for Child, who I believe is concluding their longest CCA career in history at the end of the CCA season. They've been here, I believe, since Rush Weekend 2. Feel free to fact check me wrong, but Go Child, thank you so much for spending all this time in CCA. We loved having you both as a player, spectator, and as a participant in the league. So please have a wonderful time. We are going to miss you, and thank you. Have a nice night.